Hello and welcome back. In this video, I will provide a comprehensive list of all the signs and symptoms of spirit possession as they relate to pornography addiction. But before I continue, I feel it is necessary to elaborate on the phenomenon of spirit possession. What exactly is it? Spirit possession is a supernatural, spiritual phenomenon in which an entity enters, takes control of, and inhabits a human being. Religious and spiritual accounts of spirit possession can be found in many cultures and traditions worldwide. These entities have the ability to influence an individual's thoughts, emotions, behaviors, and actions. As I have discussed previously, pornography is an emotional, energetic, and spiritual portal. When an individual watches pornography, masturbates, and orgasms, a massive release of sexual energy occurs, providing a feeding ground for negative entities in the unseen realm. Through repeated, long-term and chronic use of pornography, an individual will inevitably attract negative entities that feed on their energy and will gradually possess the host. Once an individual falls under the possession of these negative entities, their life descends into chaos, bringing relentless suffering in countless ways. Here I will outline some of the typical signs and symptoms of spirit possession. 1. Uncontrollable cravings. Once an entity has attached itself to you and is using you to draw out life force and sexual energy, it will fight to ensure that you never quit. The entities rely on a host to sustain themselves. As a result, many people mistake these nearly inhuman cravings for pornography as their own. However, they are not. The cravings stem from the negative entities. If you find that watching porn has become a compulsive, uncontrollable habit and you are unable to stop yourself, you may be in the late stages of entity possession. 2. Emotional outbursts, anger, irrational rages, and chronic sadness. This is usually a sign of mid to late stage possession. Once the entities have become comfortable feeding off your energy, they will begin to interfere with other areas of your life. The entities can supercharge pre-existing anger and exacerbate violent fantasies and tendencies. This can often result in rage attacks, irritability, having a short fuse, and more. Manic episodes and chronic sadness are also common signs of mid to late stage possession. The entities feed off lower emotions. This is such a typical sign of entity possession in general. I have witnessed countless addicts and entity-infected people experience severe emotional outbursts and irrational bouts of rage. 3. You've picked up a porn-induced fetish. Once the entities become comfortable feeding off your energy, they will begin exerting control over you by manipulating, twisting, and warping your sexual tastes. If you have developed a porn-induced fetish, this is a sign that the entities are taking control over you. If these fetishes leave you feeling embarrassed, ashamed, humiliated, or disgusted, it's a sign that the entities are implanting them intentionally to lower your psychological, emotional, and vibrational state. Many porn addicts have thoughts and feelings such as, "Why did I just watch that? I feel disgusting. That wasn't me. What have I become?" If you have experienced these or similar thoughts based on my personal experience, it is a guaranteed sign of entity possession. 4. Intrusive thoughts. There are multiple ways these intrusive thoughts manifest. Usually, porn addicts will describe how they will get an intrusive thought or an intrusive craving to watch some nasty, disgusting, degrading fetish pornography that makes them feel ashamed, embarrassed, and humiliated. Entities can intensify cravings for pornography and project images of previously viewed pornography into the host's mind. 5. Weight on the heart, weight on the chest. This is a critical sign. You may feel some sensation of weight on your heart or chest, or experience chest pressure. The sensation is more of an emotional and spiritual sensation rather than physical. Some describe this feeling as a dark, emotional or spiritual weight on the heart, or a sensation of being pulled down emotionally. This is a sign that the entities have penetrated your auric field and are now energetically attached to you. The entities are trying to lower your emotional state. Suicidal thoughts and feelings may also accompany this. You may even feel a dark spiritual presence around you. This is such a critical indicator that I see it in every case of entity possession. 6. heaviness, depression, chronic fear and anxiety. When entities attach to you, it will amplify feelings of depression, low self-esteem, and in particular, fear. Chronic fear is a major symptom of entity possession. 7. Nightmares. Nightmares or night terrors are classic symptoms of entity possession. Negative entities often attack us through our dreams. These nocturnal attacks can create feelings of fear, confusion, and powerlessness, as the entities seek to undermine our emotional and spiritual well-being. 8. Extreme tiredness and exhaustion. When an individual is possessed by multiple negative entities, these spirits drain both sexual and emotional energy. Extreme prolonged tiredness and chronic fatigue are key indicators of entity possession. As discussed earlier, the primary goal of possessing spirits is to deplete the host's energy, leaving them feeling drained, exhausted, and depleted. 9. Suicidal ideation, self-harm, and self-mutilation. This is an extremely dangerous symptom and is typically a sign of late-stage possession. Once the entities have finished feeding off your sexual energy, they will try to kill the host and drag them to a lower dimensional realm. 10. Wanting to spread your fetish and addiction to others. In severe cases, I have seen heavily possessed individuals attempt to introduce others to pornography or their porn-induced fetishes. This can include wives, girlfriends, prostitutes, etc. Once an individual has reached the critical stage of demonic possession, the entities will use the possessed person to spread and corrupt others, getting them to engage in disturbing or degrading sexual acts. All of this is influenced by these possessing negative entities. 11. Creating, distributing, or participating in porn. On a similar note to the previous sign, once the entities have seized total control of their host, the entities will use this person to spread porn to others. If you are downloading, uploading, or creating your own porn, this is a sign of late-stage possession. 12. Acting out. This can manifest in different ways: seeing prostitutes, attending a sex party, sexual experimentation, indulging in a fetish, etc. This is dangerous because the entities are controlling the host's behavior. Once these desires are acted upon, they lead to feelings of shame, self-hatred, embarrassment, and humiliation. All of this is planned and influenced by negative entities to degrade the host and others around them. For more information, buy the book Pornography, Exposed: Uncovering the Demonic Agenda Behind Pornography on Amazon. Link in description.